Welcome to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a community affairs program from West Virginia Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, Southern Communications, or its sponsors. And now, with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Welcome to Our Communiversity Today. Dr. Ramon Stuart, president of WVU Tech here in Beckley. And I'm thankful that you chose to be with us today as we explore Our Communiversity. As I say each week, I believe that Our Communiversity means the community is the university and the university is the community. And with that particular thing in mind, I think it is important for each one of us to always remember that as part of our existence on this earth, we should serve. And with service in mind, the Salvation Army of Beckley provides opportunities for people to not only do better, but more importantly, be better. And so today, as we explore this topic and the role that the Salvation Army plays, we have in studio with us Captain Liz, and she will talk about how Salvation Army is changing lives. And as always, our goal on Our Communiversity Today is to answer two questions. Simply, why not us and why not now? So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
There are so many ways to explore WVU Tech. Come tour our state-of-the-art facilities, meet our Dean of Students, and learn about student life, from clubs to mental health resources and student support services. See what living on campus is like and get financial aid advice. You'll see why being a Golden Bear is right for you. Visit wvutech.edu/admissions for all the ways to visit our campus.
Grandma made no money with her website. Nothing seems to load up properly. You can say it's easy building websites, but just ask Grandma, she would disagree. Grandma called Cucumber for a website. Instead of seeing red, she's seeing green. If you're having trouble with your website, just call Cucumber and Company.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, we're visiting with Captain Liz of the Salvation Army here in Beckley. Captain Liz, how are you today?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Blessed and highly favored. I like when people ask me how am I doing, I tell them all my good days outweigh my bad days, so I better not complain.
Come on.
All right. So, Captain Liz, I just got to be honest with our listeners and everything. You know, I know my guests. I've known you since you've arrived. You are a ray of sunshine during cloudy days. But what happens is I never call you by anything other than Captain Liz. And there is a reason, because your name starts with a B.
Right.
And then it ends with a Z, and I cannot pronounce anything in between. So, Captain Liz, tell me your last name.
So it is Blusiewicz, like Manischewitz wine gets better every year, you know?
Yeah, well, now my listeners understand why I call you Captain Liz. But, you know, I always tell people it's not about what you call me, it's about what how I make you feel. And so, Captain Liz, I want to welcome you to Beckley, Raleigh County area. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a Salvation Army ordained pastor through the Salvation Army. I oversee the Salvation Army here in Raleigh County, Greenbrier County, Fayette County, Nicholas, Webster, Wyoming, McDowell. We are full in serving, trying to live up to our slogan of doing the most good. And I believe the Lord has called me into service of his people. My background is music. And I served before coming to Beckley in Huntington, West Virginia for 6 years there with the Thundering Herd, had a lot of fun. and got the call saying, we're opening a new building on Robert C. Byrd Drive. We need some help getting some programs. And so I got to come in and really have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take a clean slate and to make something beautiful to serve really southern West Virginia.
Yeah, I just got to tell you, any and every time people mention the Thunder and Herd or the Marshall Green, the Hunter Green, I remind them that the yellow and blue makes green. Okay?
There you go.
And so welcome to Golden Bear Country.
That's it. I'm here.
Certainly proud to have you here. But man, being in Huntington 6 years, oftentimes we hear stories about, the homelessness and different challenges. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so Huntington was a challenge. We were down on 3rd Avenue, just a couple blocks from Marshall, but we saw a lot of the opioid crisis firsthand. And during being there during the pandemic was a whole nother really, really just tough situation where people were kind of locked in, they were getting depressed, and a lot of times they were turning to illegal substances. And so we were on the front lines of that, not only with our food pantry, but also trying to help people get into recovery, working with sober living homes, working with detox centers. And we did a lot with first responders because what we found is when you're working with that population, you get burned out pretty quick. You get compassion fatigue. You think, is anything I'm doing making a difference? And so it was a really interesting place to be in as we saw really the city, the university, all of the nonprofits really trying to come together to say, how do we get people to realize this is not normal? Some of the choices I'm making are not normal choices. And when we start to normalize bad choices, we get ourselves in a sticky situation. And so what we do in the Salvation Army is we try to encourage folks to see that their best self. Because I don't think anyone wakes up when they're a kid or a teenager and say, you know what, I want to grow up and I want to be living on the street and I want to have my life tore apart. No one has that thought, but we get to that place. And so our mission is, how do we get people to look past that current and say, what could your future be? And if we ever stop looking towards the future, we've given up. And so we never want to give up as an organization. We always want to believe that every single person has that ounce in them to be productive, to be a part of the really society and be productive in that. And so it's hard.
That touched my heart. I was talking with the show's executive producer right before we're starting, and we're honing in on about 40 shows. And I asked myself, why am I even doing this? I've never had any interest in radio or anything along that line, but I believe in Communiversity. I believe that the community is the university and university is the community. Yeah. And you just described Marshall's version of the Communiversity because they know having challenges right beside the institution creates challenges for recruitment and retention. Yes. Business owners, they know that vagrancy or other challenges that come, crime is bad for business. But to come together under the leadership and the auspice of the Salvation Army or whatever other entity that's doing it, I think that's what we have to do. We must integrate for the purpose of elevating. Yeah. And so I thank you so much for already living that Communiversity vision, but more importantly, reminding me of why I do this show or why I go about my daily business in the way that I do. Because I'm a firm believer that it's more than giving out college degrees and everything. Right. All of us are stronger than one of us, and you've shown that there in Huntington. So, in Huntington, you talked about the impact of the drug and opioid epidemic. You talked about, even it being exacerbated during the COVID-19 pandemic or so. But now you're down here at ground zero. Yeah. I tell people all the time, I'm from the free state of McDowell County. And the reality is I have more people from my high school class that I've seen overdose than I get to see doing the positive things when I look at social media and stuff. Yeah. So what is it like being at ground zero?
Yeah. So I think that the biggest thing that I brought from Huntington, and I learned it from the first responders, is this idea of accountability, of bringing to someone's attention, there is a way out. And whether that's providing resources, providing that smile, I tell our staff all the time, we are seed scatterers. Sometimes they fall in great soil and they take root. Sometimes we just keep on sowing. And so we never want to give up that idea of hope that somebody can change their situation. And what we've seen really in southern West Virginia since I've been here, really that economic, where folks are feeling the burden. They're feeling like, well, I'm trapped. There's no resources. What do I do? How do I get out? And so trying to get folks to, number one, think critically. A lot of times that comes by things like what you're doing with this podcast and the radio and letting people know this is a discussion, and that's where it starts. It starts with somebody saying, well, how do I realize maybe this isn't the best course for me? And so that's what we've been trying to do with the absorption of Carpenter's Corner, is creating a space. No longer is it, here's your to-go meal, see you tomorrow. It's, we want you in our building. We want you to sit down, take that burden off, get warm, get fed, because no one's going to change their life if they're hungry and they're cold and they're miserable. But if we can alleviate some of that stress and have them be able to now, okay, let's open up your mind. Let's talk about what are some of the choices that are happening in your life right now, and how can we come alongside you to help? And for a lot of our folks, it's getting IDs, it's getting into detox, and for some, it's even a long-term recovery. The Salvation Army, we offer free residential 6-month recovery programs to anyone that is willing to go. You just have to be detoxed. And for a lot of our folks, that's the hardest first step, is getting that detox taken care of. But we don't want to see somebody on the street potentially going to die because they don't know a way forward, and they get stuck. And that's where that community is so important, because we are each other's keeper. We are our brother's keeper. We have to look out for one another. And even on the difficult days, the days I've been cursed out and called everything, I'm like, I still love you. In the midst of right now, you think I hate you because I'm holding you accountable and not letting you do something that is harmful to you. You think I'm the devil, but really, I love you. And that's a really tough love to share.
Yeah, and as I said, being that ray of light on dark days and different things. And I've seen the work of the Salvation Army. You mentioned the Carpenter's Corner and the relocation of the Carpenter's Corner to be part of the new facility that was sponsored by the generosity of the Chris Klein Foundation and individuals like Donnie Holcomb, who's worked with that family. You can see that brightness. You can see a different level of engagement and everything. And I just must say, I was blessed on Thanksgiving recently to come over. Was able to roll my sleeves up. And, when I reached out to you, you said I could come at 6 and cook. And even though I'm a morning person, I did not want anybody to suffer through my cooking.
All right.
But then had the opportunity to serve. And, it was a reminder to me of the words, to whom much is given, much is expected. And through that particular service, I witnessed people smile, and I witnessed people feel like they belonged and they mattered and everything. And so that was a very humbling thing for me. And I served so good that one person gave me a $20 tip, and the other lady said to me she didn't bring her pocketbook, but she definitely would have given me a tip if she did. But ladies and gentlemen, again in studio, we have Captain Liz of the Salvation Army here in Beckley talking about how the Army goes and helps people. So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Grandma made no money with her website. Nothing seems to load up properly. You can say it's easy building websites, but just ask Grandma, she would disagree. Grandma called Cucumber for a website. Instead of seeing red, she's seeing green. If you're having trouble with your website, just call Cucumber and Company.
Looking for the best college decision in West Virginia? WVU Tech has just been ranked the top school in the state and is the college with the best return on investment. Our 6 A-BET accredited engineering programs and nursing program are ranked in the top 100 in the nation. When you become a Golden Bear, you're choosing a top quality education that will pay off. Discover more at wvutech.edu today.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, in studio is Captain Liz with the Salvation Army here in Beckley that not only serves Beckley, but also Southern West Virginia. And we're thinking about and talking about how the Army gets involved. And we've heard your story, Captain Liz, from Huntington to the Southern West Virginia, these country roads you've navigated. And again, just that ray of light on dark days. But the Salvation Army does so much more. We've talked about the Carpenter's Corner to provide a meal, a warm, safe environment. I've seen you when you've been there and handed out coats to people because as we stand here today, it'll be in the 20s and it's going to get colder because it's only December. So tell us a little bit about some of the things the Salvation Army has as its top priorities in terms of programming beyond those things we discussed.
Yeah, so we believe change starts with our mission, which is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and meet human need in his name without discrimination. And one of the ways we do that is by looking at individuals where they are and how can we best serve and meet those needs. And so with a lot of our clients, our families, they have children. And so one of the just blessings of our new building is our gym facility where we have started our Red Shield Youth Center, where right now we have 32 kids that can come after school every day, Monday through Friday, for homework help, tutoring, academics, really sports. I mean, we have basketball, pickleball, volleyball. I mean, you name it, we got it going on in our center because really we want to get ahead. We want these students to rise to a level of success. And we've been blessed through the West Virginia Department of Education through the 21st Century Grant that we are now a 21st Century Learning Center. And so focusing on STEM education, reading, literacy, shout out to really West Virginia and the readers and the associations that we have of just people who are passionate to come and to help because that makes a big difference for kids.
Right there, I have to give a special shout out. I was over at the after school program and stuff, and I saw some nursing students from WVU Tech there. And I see our basketball team engaging. I am so proud of the servant leadership that the students at WVU Tech provide.
Yes.
So I couldn't miss that moment.
Well,
so back to your program.
Well, and I echo that because I believe that comes from leadership, from that vision. And so shout out to you for really casting that vision. And people are catching on to it because everyone that I come in contact with is like, how can I get more involved? How can I do this? And we tell folks, first thing, pray for us. Second thing, come see what we do. We are not a thrift store. We're so much more. And so music programs.
I think that's so important because I'll be honest, until we opened the newest center and, I was invited to speak at the opening or whatever, I thought the Salvation Army was people ringing bells outside of businesses during the holiday season.
Yeah, I did too. So before I became a Salvation Army officer and got involved with the Army, I went to school in Baltimore, Maryland, Towson, and my trumpet professor was like, hey, you should work at the Salvation Army summer camp in West Virginia. And I was like, wait a minute, the thrift store puts on a summer camp for kids and it's music related? Blew my mind. I came, I found out what they did and saw what they did, and I just fell in love with it. And so you're not alone in that. There's so many folks that just have no idea.
So you have a music program?
We do. We teach, we have guitar, percussion, piano, and my favorite, brass. And so we take students that have never held an instrument before. A lot of our kids, their parents, are in financial hardship. That rental fee for the school is a lot to ask. And so we even provide the instruments. And shout out to Beckley Area Foundation for helping us last summer. We were able to purchase 6 brand new trombones, 8 brand new cornets, 12 guitars. And all of that helps not only with reading and tracking and math, but it helps build confidence. Because when you're performing on an instrument, you have to come with your full game because everybody's looking at you and they're listening to you. And so we're seeing our kids improve in confidence. We actually have one little young man, Jamil, who was with us this past week at the tree lighting here for Beckley, playing his trombone. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I mean, throwing it down. And to just see him fall in love with music and to build that confidence, I'm like, man, this guy, he's going to be like first trombone at Woodrow one day.
Again, one of the things, and I have to convey this to my listeners, one of the things that I love about the guests in the studio is when I can see that passion.
Come on.
I mean, your face is red with enthusiasm. the programming, from music to the Red Shield to the after school programming to giving people a hot meal and everything. This is just phenomenal. But with that, you cannot do this alone. No. Again, I say all the time, all of us are stronger than one of us. And so I remember about this time last year, I was reading the newspaper and there was an article about some generous people stepping forward to give resources. Yeah. Tell me what that looks like for people to give resources. How do they give? What do they give? And what is it used for?
Yeah, so one of the easiest ways to give right now at Christmas is our red buckets. We're ringing those bells, beating everybody down with the bell sound. When you give into those buckets, 100% of that money stays in the zip code in which it was collected. And we take great pride that that money goes directly to services. So that's one way of giving. Another way of giving is going to our website. It's a beckley.salvationarmypotomac.org. We have a Donate Now button. Our Facebook page, I have a virtual red kettle on there we're trying to raise. We're also looking for sponsors for our gym. We have these banners all over our gym because we want people, when they come into our space, to see, wow, man, like they're standing with the Salvation Army. They're standing in the gap for somebody to make a difference in their life. And then another thing is sponsoring our kids. You know, we tell people all the time, we are the Salvation Army. It takes an army of people to do what we do. It's not just Captain Liz. As much as I would love to just jam.
Let's talk about that sponsorship.
Sure.
Because I remember one time you had an event and you were talking about what it takes to sponsor a kid.
Yeah.
And this is, what does it take per month to sponsor a kid? And what does the kid get out of that sponsorship?
Yeah, so we're looking at $150 per kid per month, and we're trying to get to 70 kids in our program. But that includes, we feed them not just a snack, because when middle school kids get off the bus, they are hangry. So we feed them, we give them a snack, we give them a full dinner, USDA dinner with all of the fixings. They get their dessert. Then we have our homework. We try to hire the top tutors because one of our goals is to get all of our kids to improve academics. So we want 70% of all the kids in our program to show a positive increase in those hard scores, whether it's reading, math, social studies, science. We want to see progression. And if there's not progression, that's when we bring that accountability piece. Because again, we're an after school. We're not school, so we want to be the fun guys. And so we have, you know, our video games, we have our activities, our crafts, our STEM activities. All of that takes resources. A lot of times folks come in and they think, well, this is always going to be here. It just happens. Nothing just happens. There's people behind the scenes saying, you know what? You guys need a 3D printer. I want to sponsor that printer. Or, hey, we want to take your kids. We want to take them to learn how to rock climb. They came down here to Tech for the bouldering. I mean, the kids were so jazzed about that. They talked about it for weeks. And they're even looking at our gym of like, how do we get a bouldering, facility? And I'm like, well, guys.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of those little people out climbing. Many people don't know that we have a state-of-the-art climbing wall.
Phenomenal.
And, we have pledged to open our resources to not only the Salvation Army, but also future what we call Golden Bears through our Cub Club. And so we're so excited about that kind of stuff. And, it's just yet an example of Communiversity. I heard you mention bus.
Yep.
I saw that the Raleigh County Schools donated a bus.
Shout out to them.
But again, to our listeners, when you ask yourself, well, where does this go, or how does this work, or is somebody enriching themselves? We got to tell the truth about the bus, because when I was at Thanksgiving, the two people that tipped me, or the one that tipped me, and the other one that wanted to tip me but left her purse at home, they came from Wildwood.
Yes, they
did. And the only way that they could get from Wildwood was on the Salvation Army bus.
That's right.
That you drove.
That's right.
That you drove. A school bus painted white.
I know.
You drove it through these mean streets of Beckley over to pick up those seniors.
And that's the community. The only reason I'm able to drive that bus is because Farmer Klein and Campbell has an amazing program to help nonprofits, to help churches get people CDL classified. So if you would have told me when I moved to Beckley, I would be getting a CDL driver's license, Class B with the passenger endorsement, I'm like, you're crazy. But we have to do what we have to do to get people the resources they need. And we couldn't find a bus driver. And so shout out, Raleigh County Public Schools. I mean, they made it happen with the bus. And I said, well, we can't have this bus and it just sit in our parking lot. And so we're still looking for a bus driver. I can't be the bus driver all the time. But on Thanksgiving, that was my favorite part, is picking up those seniors at Wildwood House. They were lined up like they're in kindergarten, ready to come. They were blessed by the food and the service.
The service. I like the service.
And, and that is going to be a memory for them, because so many of those seniors, what would they be doing on Thanksgiving? Eating alone in their apartment. And instead, they were in the community. They were seeing Dr. Stewart. They were having a blast. They were getting tours of our building, saying, well, how do we come down here and learn pickleball? And so that's what I think is so beautiful about our facility, about at least my mission for service of how do we live up to that, doing the most good. It doesn't take a lot to do good for someone.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, again in studio, Captain Liz of the Salvation Army, who is a ray of light to Southern West Virginia. We're going to take a short break, so stick with News Talk WWNR as we close out this edition of Our Communiversity Today.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
Grandma made no money with her website. Nothing seems to load up properly. You can say it's easy building websites, but just ask Grandma, she would disagree. Grandma called Cucumber for a website. Instead of seeing red, she's seeing green. If you're having trouble with your website, just call Cucumber and Company.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, I want to thank our guest, Captain Liz. Last name starts with a B and ends with a Z, who is with the Salvation Army here in Southern West Virginia. Certainly, when you listen to Captain Liz, you listen to somebody that's inspired, that's motivated, that wants to help people, sometimes on their darkest day. And I think that's so powerful. Again, a ray of sunshine during dark, cloudy days. You hear about the things of the Salvation Army and other partners here in Southern West Virginia that's trying to help people not only do better, but also be better. But in order to make this work, we as a communiversity, we as the community and the university need to come together and find innovative and creative ways to support those that need it most. And so during times like this, during this holiday season, as we go through and we think about what we're thankful of, we think about what we can give and what's been given to us. The one thing that we all must remember is that to whom much is given, much is expected. And so I'm asking our listeners, whether it's the Salvation or someone else, to go out and not only meet those expectations, but more importantly, exceed those expectations. So please visit WWNRradio.com for additional information about the Salvation Army and how you can help build our communiversity today for a brighter Southern West Virginia tomorrow. I like that.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. For more on this program and contact information, visit our website at wwnrradio.com.